Programming made possible by Team Kentucky, Cabinet for Economic Development. Thank you for your support.
Did you know Kentucky has more navigable miles of water than any other state in the U.S. except Alaska?
Is Alaska still a state?
It includes 90,000 miles of streams and dozens of rivers.
It's also quite famous for some other liquids, those which flow from a barrel, that being beers, bourbons, and wine.
Many of the world's best-known distilleries can be found right here in the Bluegrass State, and interestingly enough, pretty darn close to many of our lakes, rivers, and streams.
We're here to take you on an expedition of the secrets and histories of our intricate waterways while visiting Kentucky's distilleries, breweries, and wineries.
I'm Carrie.
And I'm Kyle. And we're two Kentuckians who are pretty proud of our state and want to share a sip of what the Commonwealth has to offer.
Are you excited about this food? Because I sure am.
I haven't looked at the menu yet, but I know that
you don't need to look at
Biancke's is supposedly got some very fancy. Why are you
it does. I already placed our order. Here comes the food. Look at this. Some fried green tomatoes. Ooh. They're famous for their fried catfish, so that's why I let you have those. And of course, some coconut cream pie. And this is all mine, the Kentucky hot brown. And Kyle, this is a Walking Dead in the morning Bloody Mary.
Walking Dead Bloody Mary?
You know, Cynthiana is one of the most haunted towns in Kentucky.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Is this place haunted that we're in right now?
I do hear that there are some ghosts here. The owner said there's an old speakeasy upstairs, and, you know, there might be a resident ghost or two. And after we're done here, we're going to go on a ghost tour.
It just so happens that, I don't know if you noticed, it's getting dark outside. So, we actually get to spend the night in Cynthiana.
Ooh.
And you may have ordered the food, but I ordered the rooms for the evening. And if you think you're going to be scared here, wait till you try to go to sleep.
Well, maybe I am just not going to be able to sleep because I'm so excited about the paddles I'm going to do tomorrow.
Oh, did you bring your little yellow boat?
I brought my little yellow boat, and there's an old abandoned distillery I'm going to get to paddle down, and I get to paddle downstream into Cynthiana. The river goes right through the middle of town.
Well, while you're doing that, it just so happens that Cynthiana has a brewery of some notoriety, as well as a wine tasting bar and a vineyard, their own wine. So I'm going to check those out while you're out there sweating. People always bothering me during, I think, the text message. You ever get a text message that doesn't have a number on it?
Ooh, that's scary.
There's no number. Text message. See if you can survive this sisterly city. See if you can survive this sisterly city. That's the text I just got.
Creepy.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Guess we'll see. After we eat all this food.
Oh, I'm ready.
Well, let's do it.
Got my flashlight.
Walking up, I got mine in my pocket.
You guys want to go in?
This looks pretty old.
It's pretty old.
Really old.
It's so cool.
Mid-1880s.
The 1880s.
And they used it until the it was 99 years old when they closed it down.
Carrie, you probably had some ancestors that stayed here.
Oh, stop it.
Come on in.
Oh.
This is the exercise yard.
Exercise yard.
So this was a jail.
Yeah.
Cynthiana's jail.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You guys go on up.
This is pretty solid, though. I'm going to say
I'll remember
it would be tricky to get out of here. You'd have to do more than carve a hole in the wall and cover the girly poster. Were there any ghosts in here?
There's a ghost that's tied to the place. It takes place about 1847. He was a good old boy. He was drunk. He was a drunk. He had married the love of his life, Nancy. He wakes up the next morning, Monday morning. He looks over to wake his wife, and she's already started to chill to the touch, handprints around her neck. David said, I don't know what happened. They had a trial. He was found guilty in November of that same year in this location. They hung him by the neck. He hung by dead. They didn't even take the noose off. They cut it, and they buried him right there on that farm. Christmas Eve of that same year, out at the Mende house, Fiddler Bill was a freed slave. He was showing up for the entertainment. He gets there, nobody's in the house, but there's a nice warm fire, and he hears somebody walking around upstairs. And David Shealy walked through the door. He didn't bother to open it. Hangman's noose dragging behind him. He was dressed in the clothes that he was hung in. And he leans in and he says the only words that we know David Shealy to ever say. He said, "There's nobody here for you and me today." So do y'all know Cynthiana was the birthplace of The Walking Dead?
No.
Not the show, but the comic creator and the original artist, Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore, went to high school here. That's where it all came to life. And then it got picked up to make the movie, and we had a Walking Dead day a few years ago to bring Robert and Tony back, and brought in O'Death. Took him about 4 days, 77 cans of spray paint.
You're into zombies and things like that.
You want to see the real stuff? That is the most haunted building in the state.
Right there behind us?
Right there behind us. Ross Opera House.
You up for it?
You go first. Yes.
I'm game. Let's go do it. Let's do it. All right, we're inside this opera house. It's supposed to be scary.
You've heard a little of the history of Cynthiana. We told you it's one of the most haunted cities.
Just a little creepy.
This is the heart of that. We are in the oldest continuing running theater in the state of Kentucky. And it's also one of the most haunted buildings in the entire state.
How long are we talking about here?
The part we're in right now, the theater opened in 1871. The part we're in right now from that wall back was actually added on as an addition in 1941. Yeah, very haunted building. We're in one of the most active parts right now. The things that happen here, we have children. We've actually had people come out and they will say, "Hey, there's a little boy that's running from that curtain down there." And when we first opened, we would go down to see whose kid was running. And of course, there was nobody. And he would dart in and out. I've never seen him. We have whistling. We have a lady in white. I know that's cliche, but she's
a lady in white.
Lady in white, lady of the opera house. That's what made me a believer. I was working for the previous owners. I'm in the projection room. It's back when it was still 35 millimeter. And I look out, I get the movie focus, and I look over to my right, and there's a lady walking into the balcony. She's as solid as anybody I've ever seen. She was dressed a little weird. I followed her into the balcony. Not a person was there, and the room was just electric.
Ooh, Kyle, do you feel it's kind of cold right here?
Thank goodness, it is hot outside. I am loving it. Ghost, come to me. This is a pretty neat Art Deco place.
I would want to be here by myself at night.
You would want to be, or you wouldn't?
I wouldn't want to be here.
Hey, we can lock you in.
Oh, no, please don't.
Oh, Aeolian Hall, it was started, this is the original opera house, it was started as like a place to meet and hold meetings, and it ushered in the era of silent movies, and they actually used this until 1940.
Hello?
You gotta find the spot. Did you find the spot? Let me see if I can find it for you.
Hello?
We do have a gentleman that hangs out in the corner back there, supposedly. You do hear some sounds in here. People will be having a little get together and you'll hear a chair move when there's nobody here. Mm-hmm. So, just a really neat place.
Yeah.
I'll leave you in here. Does anyone else ever answer you?
Sometimes. You'll get answered.
Don't leave me. Thank you. The light. I'm scared now.
So the best way to experience it yourself is to come and spend the night.
Do you do overnights here?
We do overnights here.
I got a nice, quaint place at Ashford Acres. So do you. I'm sure we'll sleep wonderful there.
You know it's haunted.
I'm gonna stay awake all night.
The most haunted city in Kentucky.
Yes.
Right here. Right?
How'd you sleep last night?
I don't know about you, Kyle, but I didn't get a wink.
Yeah, not a lot here either. And it would have been a lot easier had you not been crying the entire night.
Me crying? No, Kyle. You heard it too?
It wasn't you.
No. And did you notice the lights flicker a few times?
Yeah, a little funky, but otherwise, beautiful place.
Oh, it's gorgeous and the beds are comfortable. And look at these grounds, Kyle. I could stay here all day.
Wedding gift, 1858, this whole place.
I would like that kind of wedding gift.
And then a Civil War Union hospital. Hence, maybe I heard a cannon actually was shot through the front of the building.
No.
So there you go, that's some craziness. And now 2 sisters own it, one of which is the wife of the creator of the Walking Dead series.
Well, I don't expect to find any spirits on the Licking River.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna do what I gotta do and the other liquids. After you finish, meet me at the Dailey Grind. It's right on the Licking River. Let me see if you can survive Cynthiana.
I think I will, but the question is whether you can survive Cynthiana.
Of course I will. Let's go. Oh, yes, the Maiden City fellas. Bill, Daniel, we're in a new spot.
Well, Maiden City started in 2016. Started with 3 local guys that lived here, and they all had a passion for brewing.
And so the name Maiden City, why that name?
Maiden City is actually, that's the nickname of Cynthiana. Cynthiana is the Maiden City.
One of the founders of the town, their daughter's name was Cynthia
and Anna. Yeah.
Anna.
So those are his maidens.
What all do we have going on here?
I brought you some blonde ale, El Chaco. That's a hazelnut porter. Stepping Stone strawberry cider, and then our Mexican lager, Porque No.
You guys said cider, right?
Yep.
Strawberry.
So there's a farm here. It's actually in between Cynthiana and Paris called Stepping Stone Farm. Agreed to give us a bunch of strawberries. So you give a brewer a bunch of fruit with sugar in it, and then we'll make alcohol out of it sometimes.
Good point.
But I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, why are we talking about this? We have to see this. You know, it's so much about the color, the way. But look at that. That's just.
It's got that nice rosé looking.
That is just. And again, local, down the road.
Yep. I wanted to the idea was to make sure it tasted like strawberries, not strawberry candy.
Exactly. Yep. That's great.
And then we've got the growlers.
Yeah, look at this.
We start here. This is a key lime blonde, great summer beer. This is our South Fork cream ale. This is a Kentucky Proud beer, so we source all the ingredients
right here from the bluegrass.
Right, actually, about 500 feet that way.
That really?
Yep.
Let's try the cream ale. Let's do it. This is our local Kentucky Proud.
Like I said, Bill, Bill and I didn't bring any of this. Expect them to take any of it back with us. So,
well, we got some work to do.
Exactly right.
All right, this is the Kentucky. This is the cream ale.
Cream ale, yes, sir.
All right, cream ale. Oh my God, this is totally different. Like this is.
Just because that's not the cream ale.
This has got to be the lime.
That's a key lime.
To say if this is a cream ale, it's the limiest cream ale I've ever had. I love it.
We appreciate that, though.
Key lime is the best cream ale ever. If you try this, you're going to be surprised. Okay, so now we have
the mislabel.
Cream ale. I love it.
Much better. Hey, what's in a label, right?
This is our cream ale. Kentucky Proud. That's delicious. That's smooth.
And from right here in Kentucky, I mean,
it really is, and that is wonderful. It needs a hint of lime, but other than that, it would be. This is great. It's just so fun, because when you come in and you talk to what you all are doing when you experiment, and that's any of our local breweries around here. Like there's great stories like that, and there's plenty of mistakes that turn into wonderful things.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Well, you got to think too. We're relying on another organism to do the work here. There's nothing I can do about the yeast. I can create the environment for them to do what I think they might do, but sometimes they don't do what they're their own thing. So that's one of the cool things about craft beer too, is sometimes you don't end up with what you intended, and it's just as good.
Exactly. Cheers.
Cheers. Raise them up.
Maiden City folk, come out.
Well, CJ, CJ, this is just beautiful, right? I can see downtown over to my left here. We put in right in the middle of town. This is really nice.
Yeah, it's very nice and pretty unique. There aren't a lot of towns that have this. Yeah, a lot of fishing opportunity, a lot of paddling opportunities here in town. You don't have to go far. It makes it a lot easier if you can just come into town, drop your boat, and paddle around and get back out. This stretch of river gets used more than any stretch in the county. It's really nice. It's nice to have a river going through your town.
It's beautiful. You get a nice green corridor here through town.
Yeah.
Now, Cynthiana has always been a river town, hasn't it?
Yeah, so Cynthiana was founded in 1793 on the land of Robert Harrison. Always been a river town, lots of commerce up and down the river, moving bourbon, flatboats.
Oh, this is a nice little spot over here.
Yeah, so this is Gray's Run. It's normally, if we hadn't gotten the rain yesterday, it would be about half this wide. I caught a 4-pound largemouth back here one day.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a nice little place to paddle back in. You'll always see some like great blue herons standing back here.
Do you see a lot of kayak fishermen now?
Oh yeah, for sure. When I started, I was kind of like the only person in the county. And now it seems like every time you turn around, oh, watch out, turtle. It seems like every time you turn around, there's some people down here fishing in kayaks. It's really awesome. It's great. That's what people need to do. They need to utilize these natural resources that we have, you know?
Well, I understand that there's a really cool put-in a little bit upstream from here near maybe one of your old distilleries?
Yeah, Lair Station. That distillery was home to Old Lewis Hunter bourbon, I believe it was. And then towards the end of its life, it became a Seagram's distillery. My grandfather actually worked there in the 70s.
I'd love to check it out. Do you want to head that way?
Yeah.
Awesome. This is a beautiful spot.
Yes, it's picturesque. The river actually begins about 8 to 10 miles upstream. Hinkston Creek and Stoner Creek come together in Bourbon County to make up the South Fork. And we're in a place called Lair Station. So you can put in here and actually float about 2.5, maybe 3 hours to our local airport and take out. It makes a good, like, you know, destination type of float.
Well, this looks like a fun little section of river up in front of us, a little bit of rapids there.
Some days it's a riffle, some days it's a rapid. We had 3 inches of rain yesterday, so it's a rapid today.
Oh, this will be fun.
It's fun for those who have an adventurous spirit.
Well, I can see just a little bit of a structure kind of over here. What was along the river here?
Those are remains of the old Lewis Hunter Distillery.
Ooh.
That was one of our strong brands here in Harrison County back in the bourbon days.
You heard any creepy stories about that abandoned distillery?
Let's preface this with that distillery can be accessed, but you may be trespassing. I've heard some things. People coming out here and experiencing things at night. Now, whether or not they brought spirits or saw spirits, I'm not sure. But yeah.
There were a lot of distilleries along this river. I heard recently you guys have established a new Blue Water Trail that kind of traces the bourbon's path.
Yeah, it is the original Bourbon Trail because, I mean, just upstream is Bourbon County where Jacob Spears started distilling bourbon. So basically from Bourbon County to Cincinnati is about 122 miles, and that is the original Bourbon Trail where bourbon was floated downstream on flatboats. The idea is you'll put in at Bourbon County and float all the way to Cincinnati if your heart desires.
And that would be right down the Licking River.
Yeah, right down the South Fork of the Licking.
So we are paddling on the original Bourbon Trail right now.
The Bourbon Trail was a Blue Water Trail.
Well, thank you for bringing me on such a beautiful paddle today and telling me all about the wonderful history of Cynthiana. This has really been a treat, CJ.
Yeah, anytime. It's my pleasure. It's been a blast.
Well, next time we're gonna have to run this little rapid down here.
For sure.
I almost skipped back here, but I'm on a trip. This is a small space where all the magic happens. You've got barrels behind us. We're aging wine. We got the fermentation tanks up here. This is a true urban wine.
This is it. Everything happens right here in these two rooms. So we are standing in the barrel room. We do labeling, bottling in this room, and we do long-term storage in the barrels. The room behind us will do the fermentation and then lab work. But it is a true urban winery, you're right, everything's tight. We have a vineyard about 20 minutes away, and we call that Runner's Ridge, and that's what's on our label. We have 6 different varieties there, and probably about 1,700 vines in the ground.
1,700?
And we have some of that wine in the barrel behind us, in the French oak barrel.
Excellent.
So that's for long-term storage. We'll probably go a year or more in this barrel.
You know, there's something I saw that's different that I hadn't seen before behind us here, and that's this ceramic pottery. It looks like pottery. It's like a giant clay pot. Now, what's this all about?
This is it is a clay pot. It's an amphora.
Oh, that's right.
And this was made for us in Oregon and shipped here. And this is originally how wine has been made traditionally in Eastern Europe. In fact, some places still use the amphora.
That's a little unique. I like that. You're making stuff, right? You're coming back here and mixing and blending and stuff. What's your favorite?
Just working with some of these grape varieties has been great as a winemaker, and learning how to make good wine with it.
This is great. You know what? I want to go try some of this. Who might I speak to get a couple samples?
Oh, my wife.
Let's go find it.
All right.
After you. Jeanette, we're here at my favorite part of every single tour that we do, which is where we have our wonderful stars of the show here ready for their reveal and tasting and all that good stuff. What do we got going on?
So right now, we have 5 varieties and 1 unlabeled variety.
I love, that's actually this right here. This is my favorite kind of bottle. As you know, for real, this is legit. This is the stuff. The non-labeled bottles are awesome. I'm not even joking. That's true. Okay, sorry.
No problem. So right now we have 1 white, which is a Vidal Blanc. We've got 1 rosé and 3 reds. And all of our wines are dry. So dry means different things to different people. So dry for us just means no residual sugar.
Dry for me means good, but don't tell that to our sweet wine. No, I do. I love a good dry wine.
So why don't we start with the Vidal Blanc that we talked about.
Okay, perfect.
Everybody's palate is different though.
Oh yeah. It's got a little bit of tart, a little bit of maybe a little citrus going on with it.
All right, I'm going to skip you to Riley's Run.
And this one, well, let me just, don't tell me what it is yet. A lot of fruit coming through.
I'll give you a hint. There's a proprietary blend there.
It is a blend, okay.
So it is a blend.
What's the majority of it?
The majority is Chambourcin.
Chambourcin, all right. Yeah, Chambourcin. I love Chambourcin.
Another grape that grows well in Kentucky.
Right.
I'm going to give you, the last sample would be that Cabernet Franc that we talked about. And it is a 100% Cab Franc, which is unusual.
So yeah, I don't get a lot of nose on this. So this isn't oak.
There is a little bit of French oak.
There is, so it has been barreled?
Very, very small amount.
Okay, a little bit.
Very small amount of time. I hope to convince you that a Cab Franc is
a pretty tasty cab.
Yeah.
We'll give you that. Cheers.
Cheers.
We're right here across from the Opera House.
Yeah.
And any stories from being across the street, literally, from that place? And this building itself, I assume, is pretty old, right?
Yes, this building was built in 1880. We had a lady last week. She really didn't want to talk about it, so.
It was that traumatic? She wouldn't tell you?
She wouldn't tell me. And she worked here for several years and didn't want to say. So our first night here, we were working in the building, doing some demo, and we were upstairs and looked across, and we'd heard about the Opera House and it being this, I think, the second most haunted place in Kentucky. On the second floor, they have multiple windows. My husband took a picture of the building and showed it to me, and I started looking at it, and I was like, there's somebody standing in that window. So kind of blew it up, and very clearly and distinctly, there's a woman and a child.
Oh, that's a little creepy.
But everybody loves a good ghost story.
This has been a blast. I'm going to drink 6 or 7 more bottles, and then we'll get out of your hair and go find some more ghosts.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle.
Well, hello there, my good friend Carrie.
What'd you bring me?
Well, it just so happens I brought you some lovely brew from our friends at Maiden City Brewing Company, the Bluegrass Blonde. Did you know? Do you know what Maiden City is?
Cynthiana?
It is Cynthiana. You know why they call it the Maiden City?
I do not.
Well, it just so happens that Cynthia and Anna, sisters, were both maidens, and that's why we got Cynthiana, and it's the Maiden City.
Well, it's a fantastic, beautiful little city. Once you get past some of the scary parts.
You know, I had the scared out of me in this town, but while I wasn't being scared that way, I had some wonderful beers. I tried 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from our friends at Maiden City, and then went over to the Pike Street Wine House.
Nice.
Tried some very delicious local wine.
It's beautiful by daylight. I took a lovely paddle today downstream into downtown Cynthiana, and then I paddled near an abandoned distillery and about the new Blue Water Trail that goes downstream past 4 former distilleries and traces the path that bourbon used to go. And you know what, Kyle? I survived Cynthiana.
Well, good for you. So did I.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Kyle. Are you feeling okay?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. A little sore, not so much here or here. It kind of right in this area. It seemed a little stingy, a little tingly kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, otherwise, nothing a beer can't fix, right?
Yeah. Well,
Where are you going?
I'll see you downstream, Kyle.